This week, the river was all over the place. It was good, bad, and ugly, but let's put that behind us because as of Wednesday morning, it's looking really good and the trend is, I'm really excited about what's going to go on this next week. So let's take a look at a few pictures and then we'll get right into the report. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. This is the In Deep on the Delta weekly fishing report for the week of September 19th. Let's talk a little bit about river business, what's going to be going on here in the next couple weeks, then we'll get right into the report. I want to start off with the Chris Starkey's HBXL kayak tournament, entry-level kayak tournament. I believe it's going to be held at out of Tracy Oasis. It is September 21st, and it is for entry-level kayak anglers. It's a $40 entry fee. If you want to get into a big fish pot, it's a $20 big fish pot. Chris is going to have either trophies or plaques for the first 3 places, and I think a trophy or a plaque for big fish of the tournament. And once again, this is an entry-level kayak tournament, so don't be afraid if it's your first tournament or you're not a real experienced fisherman. This is a tournament for you, and you can get all the information from Chris at HBXL Outdoors. Just Google that up, and that has all the information that you will need. The Bass Hole is going to have its final tournament October 20th, and remember, Rob has a high roller and a low roller. We'll call it pro and amateur. So if you want to get into this tournament, if you want to get into the pro side, you can get into that, win a little extra money. Again, if you are a weekend angler, you don't want to fish against the pros, go to the low roller or the am side. It's a little cheaper to get in, and the weights are not, you don't fish against each other. The winning weight for the amateurs wins the amateur. The winning weights for the pros win the pros, and that's a good tournament out at Russo's. That's October 20th. You can check out the Bass Hole website or call Rob if you have any questions on that. And also, Rob's tackle swap will be March 16th next year. And I want to start talking about that a little bit because last year it got real busy. If you want to get a table for that, start thinking about that, and I'll continue hitting that up. It's a great time to get rid of stuff. It's a tackle swap, so you can get rid of the tackle that you don't want and maybe buy somebody else's tackle that they don't want. A lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of interesting people, and that's going to be next, when is it? March, I think. March 16th, what did I say? Yeah, March 16th. I'd like to hit all of you up. Rob and I just did a little video on transitional baits. And if you haven't checked that out, check it out. I'm going to be talking about a bait that I've been using just since, I think we did the video Friday. And Rob turned me on to this bait, and it's paid off for me this week already. And it's a bait that I haven't fished, and I don't even have the name of this bait, but I'm going to show it to you and let you guys know what I've been doing with that bait. Okay, so what's been going on out here? I'm going to tell you. Everything was going well until last Sunday, and I'll tell you, I was out Sunday with Jeff and Brady, a father and son team. Jeff won a prize package to come out with me for a half day on the Delta, so we were doing our half day trip, and I'll tell you what, it started out Sunday pretty darn good. We got on a bank, and Brady got one about 3 pounds right off the bat. Within an hour and a half, we had a decent 5-fish limit. Not a big one, but not a big 5-fish limit, but a decent 5-fish limit. Now here's where things get ugly, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the ugliness, but I guarantee you want to stick around here because we're not going to end on an ugly note. We're going to end on a really high note. By the way, the wind was blowing 20 when we got out there. It probably started blowing 30, and it just seemed like one gust of wind and the temperature dropped about 10 to 15 degrees. The day before I was in Lodi, it was 95 degrees. It dropped down to 60 degrees on Sunday. What did that do to the bite? It just slammed it like an iron curtain. Man, we had trouble catching fish for 2, 3, 4 hours. I got to give it to Jeff and Brady. They just kept at it. They didn't stop fishing. We were getting a bite here and there. Wind picked up to 25, 30. They still, were out there fishing it. We finally decided that we were going to pull into some protected water. We fished it till dark, and because of their persistence, it paid off with a few nice fish right that evening bite. Wasn't great, but when you're fishing that hard and you're not catching anything, and then you can pull out 3 or 4 fish and get a couple of nice bites in the evening, it really, helped us to go home with our heads held high. And I want to thank both Jeff and Brady for staying with me and working as hard as they did. I know we didn't get a 25-pound day, but we had a good time. We got some fish. So what happened after that? That front shut off. That was Sunday. Nathan and I went out Monday. Man, we had trouble all over the place. We could not catch fish. We couldn't get bit. We moved around. It was just tough. We finally ended up getting a few fish, and this is what I'll talk about real quickly with the bait that I wanted to share with you that Rob turned me on to. It's this little guy right here. I forget the maker of this thing, but if you watch the video, the transition winter to summer, or summer to winter transition, he'll tell you what this is called and who makes it. But it's just a little bitty crankbait, and what I wanted to give you guys the information on this thing is because this was the only thing we can catch them on. We just had to go small and go a little bit deeper. This only goes about 4 feet, but we were in 5, 6 feet of water, and the fish were picking this up. And if it wasn't for this bait, we wouldn't have had much luck at all. Actually, I don't think we caught anything unless it was on this bait. So that was Tuesday, and I also got reports from other people Tuesday that just weren't catching fish. I'm out here Wednesday morning, and this is where I want to spend most of the time and let you guys in on what's going on, because things changed dramatically from Monday, Tuesday into Wednesday. When I got out this morning, I got out right at daybreak. The bugs were out, the swallows were out, the activity on the river was just up. The geese were flying around, beavers were out, the otters were out, and the river just came to life. I started fishing a little bit before daylight and didn't really pick anything up. That change of light bite just isn't happening for me. It's not happening for a lot of people out here too. That's the reports I've been getting. But as soon as that sun came up, things started happening. I knew the fish were on a bite. I was using a Rico, and those fish were just gobbling that thing up. As the sun came up, the fish got bigger. I switched over to and let me show you, here's the Rico I was using right here. And by the way, I forgot to talk about stripers. I am going to be talking about stripers because there's a lot of good information on stripers, but I'm so jacked up from catching these fish this morning that I started off on largemouth bass. That's the little black Rico that I was catching them on. Got a lot of fish in the 1 1/4 to 2 pound. Got a couple nice ones, and the bigger fish seemed to be out, so I wanted to go to a bigger bait. I switched over to a Suwitch, Megabass Suwitch. It's basically, it's got a bill that, you guys heard me talk about this. I was using it as a wake bait just under the surface. I got some nice fish on the Suwitch. They kind of leaned off of that, there's a little breeze. The breeze stopped. They weaned off of the Suwitch. I went back to the smaller Rico. I started catching fish again. I tried a whopper plopper. I only got a couple of you know, smaller fish on the whopper plopper. Whopper plopper wasn't going too well, but as soon as the topwater bite decreased, I put on a jerk bait, and I just, you know, they were just eating that thing on almost every cast. They weren't big fish, but fish up to about 2 pounds, and it was a lot of fun. I didn't fish it long enough to really say that the big fish weren't hitting it. I think if I would have kept on it, they would have hit it. Now, everyone else that I've talked to, I was out here about 7:30, my phone started ringing. I knew that the river was on and people were sending me reports. I saw one of those calls was from Coach Ted, so I called Ted up. He was out. He said, "Yeah, I'm out," and the bite was off the charts where he was. He was down in the central delta, right around Mildred, out there by about 7 o'clock. He had 30 fish. I was in that kind of same boat. I was right off the channel, Little Connection Slough. I'm in Potato Slough right now. I'll give you guys some information where I was, because it really doesn't matter. I'm on the stupidest rock banks that you could find, and there's fish on them. It doesn't have to be rock, tule, it just has to be rock with a trough, with some vegetation. That's what I fished primarily this morning. Can't think of the name of this slough that I'm on, but you guys know where I'm talking about. There's kind of a few miles of just basic rock. That's what I'm catching the fish on. I can tell you that the flats didn't pay off for me, so I would stay away from the flats. I just couldn't get fish on any flats that I tried. Stay in the deeper water. If the island points are still really producing, and if you can't get the fish to bite in and around the tules, then go off to that first ledge and fish a jerk bait and get out in 5 or 6 feet of water. You should catch some fish. I've been up and down the channel from, let's say, the mouth of the San Joaquin River down by the port of Stockton, all the way up to, we'll just say, the duck pond. There are tons of stripers in the channel. They're not big fish, but they are boiling all over. The birds are all over, and the bait is all over. And these are fish that are coming up in football size schools, where it's not a football field that's just all on fire, but there's fish over here and fish here and fish here, and they're up. All you need to do is go up there, throw a jerk bait, throw a topwater, throw a walking bait, and you'll catch fish. Problem is, most of these fish are 10 to 14 inches. Not a lot of big ones in there, but they are all over. So watch for birds if you're on the main channel. Chris Starkey talked about fishing down around Clifton Court down there. He's picking up bigger fish down there, up to about 31 inches. Nice stripers down there. The Frank's Track is kicking out some stripers. Jeff Suhu gave me a call. He didn't go out today, but he's going out tomorrow. He's all jazzed up because his reports are that, you know, out around Pittsburgh, it's pretty much on fire. And he talked to his buddies down in the bay that are fishing down there. He says there's big fish, big schools of fish, and they're heading this way. So as we get into this next week, we have got about 68 to 72 degree water temps right now. We're going to get some warm weather. The temperatures might go up a little bit, but remember, the temperature this last week dropped from 75 to about 67, 68. This, I think, is triggering the fall bite. And if I'm looking at my logs and I remember what I write down, all year as we go through these peaks and valleys, especially when we have a weather front, a cold weather front, the time after that, when that hot weather is brewing, and the hot weather is brewing for next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's going to be 100 degrees. The days leading up to that hot weather are really good. Now, after the weather gets hot, it tapers off, but for you guys that are fishing this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, going out Friday, you should have good fishing. I know I'm jumping around a lot today, but I'm trying to think if I'm going to go out and do some more fishing after I film my report, or if I'm going to go home and do what I need to do. So I can either have fun fishing, or I could possibly get in trouble with my wife. That's why I'm all over the board here. All right, with that, guys, go out. You got to get out right now. The weather is beautiful out here. I forgot my freaking hat. The reason I don't have a hat on, because the only hat in my boat is this one here, and I didn't want to look stupid. So My head's starting to burn. I think I'm going to put that stupid looking hat on and go out here and catch some fish. So with that, I'll quit rambling. Let you guys know that if you're out here, I'll see you on the river, because I'm going to be out here every day, especially if the water, if the river continues to produce like it's doing. So see you guys on the river. Be safe and go out and catch some fish.